Good morning. On this, fall equinox day, first day of fall. I was up early this morning and it did feel like fall. Welcome to First Parish in Brookline, a Unitarian Universalist congregation, welcoming of all. We seek to make a safe and brave space together for everyone to bring their authentic, vulnerable selves and connect with others as we reflect together on life's big questions and mysteries. My name is Carla Baer. My pronouns are she and her, and I am your worship associate this morning. Our service will be led by our interim minister, Reverend Joe Cherry. If you are new or if this is your first time at First Parish, we extend a special welcome to you this morning. Please come say hello after the service. We would love to meet you. Immediately after our service today, everyone is invited to our social hour. I never get this right. To my left, to your right, through those doors. Did I get it right? To Lion Chapel for our coffee hour and get together. For those attending online, the link for the information is in the order of service and on our website. A couple of announcements. The insert in your order of service, one side is always the calendar, the other side is always some announcements, and we do our best to get it right, but sometimes things change. So a couple of updates on the calendar. The small group ministry launch with Elena and Ginger, it will not happen Monday because we haven't finished the sign-ups for our menu of learning opportunities, adult lifespan learning opportunities. Last Sunday, I think you had a delicious meal that was introduced by Joanna Hawkins and Jen and Hobson Goulart. They gave you a taste of the menu. There was the small group ministry, tasting very good, I think. Writing your own spiritual autobiography, another entree on the menu. There were a variety of entrees. There were appetizers. Dessert was Vespers. Just want to remind you of that. Elena Garofoli in the back, who's greeting today, who's waving, will have sign-up sheets at coffee hour. We urge you to take a look at that menu. There are copies of the menu there. Take a look at the menu, see what you might want to partake of. We urge you, don't hold back. Second piece on the calendar, next Saturday is the concert and reception that our music director, Keith Kirchhoff, has organized. It is celebrating the 90th birthday, not of Ron Blake, but of Ran Blake. And newly discovered is that not only will there be a guest appearance by Brian Freeland, but our own Keith will also be performing as a soloist. So think about being here next Saturday. And then on the back side of the insert, just want to mention the Friday night community dinner. The first one of the year is the first Friday in October. We will have the usual dinner conversation, pebbles of joy and sorrow, and then we'll do the program partly in collaboration with the Minister Search Committee. It'll be an active, interactive way for us to develop some ideas together at our tables about who we are and who we want to become. Ultimately, the Search Committee will develop a congregational response to that question to share with candidates, and they want to get kind of warmed up by engaging those of us who come to the Friday night community dinner. So join us, all welcome, bring your friends. It should be a rich and lively conversation after our typical beginning. At some of our services on Sundays, we offer a land acknowledgement before the call to worship. The Racial Justice Action Committee and the Worship Committee discussed this at some length last year, and we don't want it to become a rote kind of performative thing. We want to be very deliberate about our uses of land acknowledgement, And it seemed this morning seems like an important time to ground ourselves in that acknowledgement as public debate begins about whether or not to accept a special commission's recommendation to replace the state seal and flag, both of which feature an Indigenous person with a sword above their head. There's been a lot of work done to try to challenge that bit of history over many years, and a commission now has a recommendation to make, and there's already some public discussion about whether this is the right time or not. So it seems appropriate for us this morning to ground ourselves. This sanctuary sits on beautiful and abundant land that was previously in the custody of the Massachusetts people. They were driven off the land and never willingly ceded it. We remember them. They are still here. We acknowledge them. As a congregation, we are committed to exploring our own history and its implications for repair, at the same time as we work now to challenge injustice in all of its forms. So once again, welcome one and all to First Parish this morning. It is a blessing to be here together in community.
I love when Carla's the worship associate because then I get to use the step and feel tall because I'm not. Hi, everybody. Hello. You know, it's funny. Someone told me not to say that anymore because some people are not having a good morning, and it might make them feel bad. Isn't that a funny thing? So we'll work it out. I would like to kind of share with you a few short words this morning. Albert Hubbard, who you'll hear a little bit about later, Carla will be quoting him later, was influenced by the ideas of William Morris on a visit to England. He was unable to find a publisher for his book, Little Journeys, so inspired by Morris's Chelmscout Press, he decided to set up his own private press to print the book himself, founding Roycroft Press. His championing of the arts and crafts approach attracted a number of visiting craftspeople to East Aurora, New York, and they formed a community of printers, furniture makers, metalsmiths, leathersmiths, and bookbinders. A quotation from John Ruskin formed the Roycroft Creed. This is the part I really wanted to share with you, but I wanted to give you a little background beforehand. A belief in working with the head, hand, and heart, and mixing enough play with the work so that every task is pleasurable and makes for health and happiness. It's a statement about the balance of work and play. A belief in working with the head, hand, and heart, and mixing enough play with the work so that every task is pleasurable and makes for health and happiness. The inspirational leadership of Hubbard attracted a group of almost 500 people by 1910. And millions know him through a book, his essay called A Message to Garcia. In 1915, Hubbard and his wife, noted suffragette Alice Moore Hubbard, died in the sinking of the Lusitania. So, with a message of balance, I invite you to our worship this morning. And I would like you to rise as you're willing and able to either take the teal hymnal or look at the screen and sing Morning Has Come together.
As Reverend Joe lights the chalice, please join in the unison affirmation appearing in your order of service, and here first in Spanish. Nos entregamos y nos comprometemos a caminar juntos como congregación, prometiendo con mucha fe cuidarnos mutuamente y deleitarnos en el amor que permanecerá entre nosotros. We give ourselves one unto another, covenanting to walk together as a congregation, promising faithfully to watch over one another and to delight for love to abide in our midst.
Okay. Every so often, usually once or twice a month, we take time to share with each other stories of great joy or real sorrow so that others will know what's going on and we can be held in the support of the community. So I'd like to invite folks to gather, starting in this column here, to share what is going on, what is really wonderful, and what's troubling. So I can actually begin with a joy, because right now in the city of Taunton is a quilt my mom and I made together on display in a quilt show. I'm very excited about that.
Hi, I'm Leslie Spanius, she, her. Just feeling so much joy to have my son and daughter-in-law and their 1.5-year-old son moved from LA to 1.5 miles from us, and it is heaven. Thank you.
So I'm Ed Leckler, and I'm sharing in that same joy. And the way I would describe it, or part of it, is it's re-experiencing the joyful goofiness that we experienced when our children were young. And I'm going to ask Leslie to hold the microphone for a moment. So I can do stuff like this. Boop, 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 boop. And I now have someone who likes it.
Good morning. Meredith, where are you? Oh, right here. Meredith said to me this morning that, and to Carla, who graciously gave her a ride, that Meredith was sad because she's got a good friend, one of her staff, a live-in staff member, who's moving on, who's at the end of this week, will be her last week, and we had a party for her on Friday night, and it was a lot of fun, but she will be sorely missed. Her name is Jackie, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person. Meredith also said that she has a new best buddy, and that means her old best buddy she's not seeing around anymore. These are campus activities at Boston College. So Meredith is feeling a bit sad and missing some folks, but is happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Martha Leader, she, her. I'm just excited because Bessie and Alfred Brownell are both with us today. Very beloved, longtime members, and it's just great to see you both.
Hi, I'm still Barbara. He's still Charles. And we've just come back from 10 days of what wound up being a very sentimental journey. It started visiting friends in Vermont, and then Charlie got in a plane, went to his high school reunion in Cincinnati. I went to mine in the Bronx. And then we had a week to wander in New York to all the places we had been when we were younger, including All Souls Church. And simple things, we rang the doorbell of the apartment building we used to live in and moved out of 32 years ago, and the super came out and said, "Barbara and Charles," and invited us in, and we talked about Mike being a baby. So we are just so great. And we ended it with a cousins reunion in Long Island on the way home last night. So just so much love across a lifetime, and we're grateful for it.
And tomorrow evening marks the beginning of the new year in the Jewish calendar, and we wish everybody sweetness and joy and peace.
My name's Elizabeth McIntyre, she, her. And this is a stone of sorrow. I lost a dear friend this week, Dan Schachter. He was 55. He had been really sick, but this was really sudden. And he was an immensely good man, one of the first really good men I got to see. And from that example of kindness and goodness, and I feel like he opened the door to getting to know so many wonderful men here and everywhere else in my life. So this is a stone for my friend Dan, and a stone for his wife Anne, who is bereft.
Hi, I'm Tanya Gurian, she, her. I wanted to acknowledge the caring for my husband, which has been difficult. But I had a really scary episode 2 days ago in which he couldn't even stand up. The next day he was better, but it was really unnerving. It's been a challenge, and I don't even know what to wish for. So just keep us in your hearts. Thank you.
I'm Hobson Goulart. My pronouns are he, him, and I have a pebble of joy for my son Lucas, who is, really started his junior year and is quite excited about his orienteering, and that's why he's not here, because Saturday, Sunday they go out and they do orienteering, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday they practice orienteering. So they have a compass and a map, no GPS allowed, and they go into the woods, and so it's very joyful to see him develop. And the candle of sorrow is, we lost a friend suddenly. His name was Adriano, and his husband, Kevin, is in my thoughts. They are the kind of couple that they belong to that group of people that I send whimsical messages. It may include a wig with a video of me doing something, only those close people get these messages. Some of you may get, but they always responded with joy, and so I'm really heartbroken that Adriano passed away so suddenly, and I want to extend my thoughts to his husband, Kevin. Thank you. And his sister, Francis Lani, who has been a good friend of ours.
Good morning. My name is Alfred Brunel. I have come to express, some sadness and also some joy. First, the sad news is that I'll share with some of you the latest report from Global Witness is out. And in the last year, 146 life defenders were murdered across the globe. So that's very sad, and I want to put some pepper into that. Last week, a week before last actually, I traveled to Africa. I was in Ethiopia. and I participated in the African Climate Summit. How some of you are aware, I was involved in a major lawsuit across the African continent where we filed a petition before the African court. I'm trying to get African government to address their obligations to the climate crisis. We got very good news this week on that petition. The African court finally accepted our petition, and so that's very, very good news. And I wanted to put the paper in favor of that. And as all of you know, beginning this week, starting today, is New York Climate Week. And despite all of the issues regarding climate change, more than 5,000 activists across the world are convening in New York in complete defiance to try to respond to the crisis. So I'm very happy for that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Life is full of future joys, and so here is a stone for future joy. There are folks holding things right now that are too heavy to share, that are too troubling, and so a stone for the troubles that we are yet to share. May they become easier to bear as time goes on. And one last one for the great mystery. And now it's time for us to sing all the folks who are going to go to class. We're going to sing twice, and I'm going to actually ask you to hear us one time through instead of running off, because we still like you. Okay, now run. I am never going to wait that extra 20 minutes to text you back. And I am never going to play hard to get when I know that your life has been hard enough already. It's hard to watch the game we make of love like everyone's playing checkers with their scars, saying, checkmate, whenever they get out without a broken heart. Just to be clear, I don't want to get out without a broken heart. I intend to leave this life so shattered, there's going to have to be 1,000 separate heavens for all my flying parts.
Thank you, my choir friends. I needed that. Elbert Hubbard asserted this: "Some go through life getting free rides. Others pay full fare and something extra to take care of the free riders. Some of the free riders are those who make an art of knowing the angles. Others are rascals. Others lazy. But some really need help and could not ride unless they rode free. I don't spend much time worrying about the free riders, but I am a full fare man first and last." This is the time in our service when we invite your generosity to help pay for the good work of this community of faith and hope. If this is your first time visiting us, please feel free to let the offering plate pass you by. If you feel so moved, you may text the dollar amount you wish to give. You can also give on our website. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
Wow. Sometimes people get up here and say sorry for crying. I'm not sorry. I'm very grateful. What an amazing place to be that I can be moved to tears. And this isn't even the first time today since walking in the door. So thank you, choir. Hello, my name is, all right, now I'll clear my throat. My name is Chiara Zani. My pronouns are she, her. I am on the parish board. And I am here to say that we deeply understand that these gifts that you have given us today in our offering are a sign of your trust. And we, on the board, will honor that trust. And we will do everything in our power that we take that trust and move it forward in furthering our shared values and mission. So, thank you.
So I've heard that this mic works better, so I'm going to keep using it, all right? You can mostly see me, so that's good enough. So the first line of the sermon is, life's about choices. I'm making a choice right now to use this microphone. There is something that I think most of us lose sight of. It is part of my spiritual practice to remind myself of this as often as possible. So often as I go through the ins and outs of my daily life, so often I hear people begin a sentence that says, I have to. I have to go to a meeting. I have to put gas in the car. I have to finish this book. I gotta take my kids to soccer. I have to write this sermon. I have to go make dinner. I have to. There are dozens of have-tos, maybe hundreds of them in a day. When I was in England in one of my seminary adventures, my British Unitarian minister colleagues introduced me to a phrase that, because of its truth, has been with me almost every day since I first heard it. This is an impossible job and an amazing privilege. The practice of ministry can be a grueling life. It is filled with sometimes long days, 13 hours often. You get one real day off a week, and that's only if you can keep your calling to serve others at bay on Mondays. And you don't spend part of that day checking email once or twice, or reviewing your text messages, or reviewing in your mind how the service went the day before, or worrying about a congregant who is either missing on Sunday. We do pay attention and notice when you're not here. That's not a guilt thing, just saying. When I'm up there, I get to see you all every week. So when you're not here, I notice, and I worry a little. Or someone comes in wearing a cast, like Betsy did a little bit ago, like Hobson did, and who are both now far less cast heavy, which I'm thrilled about. But you notice it, and you worry about it. Or someone comes in with a cane that you know is going to be with them for the rest of their life, and you worry about that. You listen to joys and sorrows, and your heart goes out a little bit, right? For a loss. There are meetings aplenty. Books and articles to read often offered to you by congregants who are sharing something really important about themselves to you. And I'm not saying that with sarcasm. It's really important. And so many emails, not only about committee work, but from other colleagues and other churches for social justice causes, requests to appear as an ally or accomplice. I always enjoy coming as an accomplice. And all of them causes you believe in and want to support. This is an impossible job, but always, I try to remember, an amazing privilege. It could be a life full of have to. But it isn't for me mostly because I keep in mind and in my heart the knowledge I've made the choice to do this. I have answered a call to ministry. I don't have to. I choose to. Every day I choose to be in ministry. And because of that, I never say I have to write a sermon for Sunday. Instead, I say, I'm writing a sermon for Sunday. I never say I have to go visit someone in the hospital. I say I'm going to visit someone in the hospital. And every time I make a statement like that, I remind myself that I'm making a choice. I reframe what could be experienced as an obligation. I recast it for exactly what it is, my choice. I could choose to do something else. I have other skills. I had a job before this. I could go back to accounting, for example, which I actually really liked. I could run a different kind of nonprofit. I could go into teaching. But I don't choose those things. I choose ministry. Unlike the jury summons I received that compels me to go downtown every day for a week, I am here voluntarily. And so are you. Gone are the days of the Puritans and the compulsory church attendance, although this church was here then, and the days of taxes being collected for the benefit of the parish church. Gone really is even the social expectation that you even go to a church on Sunday. In fact, you may worry that some people think it's odd that you go to church at all. Every Sunday you come here because you make the choice to do so. You come here because some part of you feels drawn, a pull to this community. It would be easier to say, I have to go to church, than I'm choosing to go to church. In our society, we have this kind of weird default position of pretending to have obligation. Because if we have an obligation to something or someone, we can more easily fall into the most American of all attitudes, which I will call a willful semi-detachment and resentment. Semi-detachment is far safer than actual attachment. In some ways, semi-detachment lets us semi-care about something. And if we only semi-care about something, we aren't forced to reveal our deeper selves, our hopes, our desires, to the judgment of other people. Not that I think we should be a society of people who are overly emphatic about everything. Imagine the fistfights over who has better French fries, McDonald's or Burger King. We don't need that. But we should not be afraid to claim the things that are important to us. If your religion, your faith, your church is important to you, why should that embarrass you? I love my church, but I don't want to bring my friends here because it feels really weird. Or my friends don't know I go to church. Or admitting that I go to church makes me feel like others will think I can't think for myself. There aren't enough other people of color there. Which of these have you thought? I've heard things like these now for decades from Unitarian Universalists. It's like we're embarrassed that we found this place where we go to be recharged to make the world a better place. That it's weird we have this community of people whose faces light up when they see us on Sundays or book clubs or movie nights. None of us in this sanctuary are here under duress except maybe the kids, and they're already gone. But you know what's funny about the kids? I've heard that they want to come here. I'm not just saying that. I've heard parents and even kids tell me they look forward to coming here. We come here because some part of us needs to be with the people who are here. Humans are social animals. We like to be liked, and we like to give the gift of liking to others. That is why we come together. So why can't we just admit that to ourselves and each other, and maybe even the larger world? In 1946, Unitarian minister and theologian James Luther Adams wrote an essay called A Faith for the Free, Reverend Dr. Adams was probably the last public Unitarian Universalist theologian, as his works were read widely outside of the confines of church, and his influence was substantial. Just 1 year after the atrocities of the Second World War, into a world reeling in shock from what was still being uncovered in the horrors of that war, Adams wrote the following: "Faith is by no means dead in the world. A devil's plenty of it is loose on the planet." Here he quotes Emerson, "A man bears beliefs as a tree bears apples." And I'm sorry about the language, but I couldn't translate the language to gender neutral and keep them, so I want to acknowledge that for a second. 1946, and sorry, I couldn't make it work. It got really weird. He continues, "He bears beliefs about himself, his fellows, about his work and his play, about his past, about his future, about human destiny. What he loves, what he serves, what he sacrifices for, what he tolerates, what he fights against, these signify his faith. They show what he places his confidence in." The question concerning faith is not, shall I be a person of faith? The proper question is rather, which faith is mine? Or better, which faith should be mine? For whether a person craves prestige, wealth, security, or amusement, whether a person lives for country, for science, for God, or for plunder, that person is demonstrating a faith, is showing that she or he puts confidence in something. Notice plunder is in his list. Adams further writes that people gather together in voluntary associations as an expression of their faith in humanity, which was, I dare say, very shaken in the aftermath of a global war. Indeed, voluntary association had a huge heyday in the decades following World War II. Elks, Eagles, Moose, Shriners, PTA, bowling leagues, etc., churches, etc. But somehow, as the 1960s turned to the 1970s, the idea that one would, especially in young adulthood, align oneself with a voluntary association became an embarrassment. For a time, it looked like most of the voluntary associations were about to die off. There has been, though, a small resurgence in voluntary association. I know of several people under 35 who are part of a civic group like the Elks. Though they do so quietly, still they go and take part in these communities because something about it resonates with them. So last year, when we got 11 new members, all but one were under 50. This is happening again. And I'm not complaining about it, I can tell you. But we should encourage it and make place of welcome for it. One way that we reflect the expression of our values is through commitment. Stewardship is just that kind of commitment. Stewardship is about relationship. To paraphrase Adams, it is what we sacrifice for because it has importance to us individually and also collectively. Stewardship is not about hardship. It is not about the hard sell or shaming people. Stewardship is a way in which we express our values. If you know me at all, you know I do not operate in the mechanism of shame. I might joke about it once in a while, but it's not part of my gig. I don't believe in it. Stewardship is not an obligation in and of itself. Stewardship is a responsibility that you've accepted when you made a choice to be a member of this congregation, of other civic things. My concert band cost me $40 a year. I give them 80 because I feel like 40 is not enough. Membership is not compulsory, it is optional. So don't think about stewardship as something to complain about, something to submit to begrudgingly. Recognize that stewardship is a series of actions that help you live out your choices, your faithful choices. No one in leadership wants anyone to skip meals to make a promise to the church. because that is, after all, what a pledge is. A pledge is a solemn promise, something to be entered into with solemnity, seriousness, and thoughtfulness. Bless you. What the elected leadership here is asking you to do when thinking about stewardship, as is coming up in a couple months, consider the question of the responsibility that your choice to be here on Sunday after Sunday brings to you. We are asking you to consider that responsibility in both monetary and voluntary time assets. Each Unitarian Universalist congregation is responsible for our own maintenance, which means that collectively we here, Denise Church in Rhode Island, the church up in Chestnut Hill where Diego is, we are all individually responsible for paying for programs, staff, utilities that we have chosen, each of which helps keep an expression of our faith. So my friend Joanna, I could not get this video to work and I'm so upset about it, posted a video of some comedian pretending to be the president of her UU congregation in 2009. And it is hilarious. So if you want to see it, if you haven't already seen it, come, I'll find it for you and share it, because it is all us. Anyway, that's not part of the sermon, but it kind of makes the same point. She makes this joke about, we like things like lights. So the programs here help us explore our faith and teach our faith. The staff help with that exploration. Utilities, because have you been in this place without the lights on? It's very dark. And computers, etc. And no 21st century church should be without reliable Wi-Fi. That's just taking us back to, Martin Luther. The last thing I'll say about stewardship this morning is this. If you are uncomfortable with the minister talking about how the church needs our financial support to operate it, I'm afraid that history is to blame for that. Earlier this morning, I mentioned that early American Puritan days where church was compulsory and taxes were collected on behalf of the church. Remember that part? It's kind of our fault there's a separation in that, by the way. Back in those days, there were no pledge drives because the money was collected by the state and given to the local parish by the government. Think about that right now in our current political climate. But in 1810, that was stopped. A lawsuit was brought forth in Falmouth, Massachusetts, to put an end to state-sponsored religion. That lawsuit prevailed. The lawsuit that freed the church from the yoke of the state, the beginnings of the separation of church and state, was brought forward when one church supported in a town by the taxes of all the people, the dissenting churches could not survive financially. This lawsuit was brought forth by the Reverend Thomas Barnes, a Universalist minister. We choose to come here. We choose to return most every Sunday. All of us. Let us be proud of our voluntary association with one another. Let us remember the choices we make to be here. Let the mindfulness of your choosing remind you of the freedom you have. Not just here, but in all the aspects of your life that you have freedom. Which may be more than you're thinking of right now. Spend some time thinking about that. Let that renewed sense of freedom help you to find in your heart and soul the joys of expansion and liberty. Come here on Sundays in joy, and on the days when you come here with troubled hearts, as happens to all of us, may it never be from a sense of obligation. Remember how much people light up when they see you here. Remember how much your own spirit rejoices at seeing members of your church family. That is being a good steward toward your community. It demonstrates the power of love. Remember also how cared for you are here when times are hard. To come here during the times of struggle is also to be a good steward of your community, for it demonstrates that we do not need to be perfect to be loved. I choose to come here. I choose to be your minister. I choose this faith. In all the freedom of these choices that I get to make, my heart and my spirit soar. Our choices, may each of us be regularly reminded of our value to the world and here. Amen. Please come together to sing the final hymn, which is Come Sing a Song With Me in the gray hymnal number 346 or on the wall.
Chalice, please join me in our unison affirmation. Apagamos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, ni el calor de la comunidad, ni el fuego del compromiso. Estos los llevamos con nosotros y los ofrecemos para bendecir al mundo. We extinguish this flame and not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us and offer as gifts unto the world.
So my last words, my good words, literally benediction, are this. Remember, the world is full of choices. I hope that helps you feel free. I hope it brings you joy. I hope that you're glad you came today. And I hope that you're glad to have coffee later and talk to people who like you.